Hello everyone, this is just a quick follow-up to Vegas Investigation Part 59. A number of you asked about something in the comments section that I didn't address in that video. The Bellagio Hotel has a time-lapse webcam that's set up in its conservatory, and it snaps pictures of the garden area every 15 minutes, and this goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We listened to audio testimony of a man from Canada whose name is Jeff. He and his wife were in the conservatory at 11:20 p.m., and this is on the night of the Vegas shooting, October 1st. According to Jeff, at 11:20 p.m., a crescendo of screams started to pour into the conservatory from the Bellagio lobby, which is connected to that garden area. And hundreds of panicked people came stampeding through the conservatory, screaming that there was a shooter out there. And Jeff says that he heard the gunfire himself, and he and his wife were among the people that kind of rushed to get out of the conservatory. Well, when we look at the Bellagio's webcam shots during that time, we find that the screenshots from 11:15 p.m., 11:30 p.m., and 11:45 p.m. have all been removed. If you scroll forward, later around 7 a.m. on the morning of October 2nd, you can see Vegas Metro PD still on patrol through the conservatory, so they clearly had some real concerns about this area. But some of you noticed that the webcam captures for those times, the 11:15, 11:30, 11:45, they're missing not only from October 1st, but from every day in the Bellagio archive. For some reason, the Bellagio just wiped out that time frame, that 45 minutes, or roughly an hour, from 11 to midnight, removed the entire thing for every day of the year from their archive. I was told originally that clients who use this particular webcam program, that they could not go in and delete individual shots from their public archive without removing all of them at the same time for that time frame. For example, to delete the 11:30 p.m. shot from October 1st, the programmer at the Bellagio, at MGM, which owns Bellagio, they would have to make all 11:30 p.m. shots from all of the other days private as well. But I decided to dig a little bit more. I had some more questions. This really isn't a huge issue necessarily, but when my curiosity gets piqued, I become very single-minded. So I called the webcam company's tech support to ask some questions. And the employee that I spoke to, for some reason, he was under the impression that I was the admin for MGM's website. And again, MGM owns the Bellagio. Well, I didn't tell him I was the admin, but since he was giving me good information, I just let him keep talking. And he corrected the incorrect information about that single frame removal. What he said was that no, the program does allow an admin to delete even a single frame from the public archive. So the Bellagio did have the option to remove just that 11:15 or 11:30 frame, but for whatever reason, they chose to not just delete the single frame, but to delete that entire hour. They just scrubbed it for whatever reason. My opinion is that they knew that it would draw too much attention if they just pulled out that single frame, the 11:30 frame, which is the one that would demonstrate that there was some event that happened. But they didn't do that. They removed the entire hour from every day of the week. The supposition here is that by so doing, it supports their narrative that nothing happened. Because remember, when Renee Downs was checking out the next day, the employees had already been coached. They were told to basically play down everything and pretend that nothing happened. Just offer comps or whatever to the people, refunds, comps, to just get them to shut up and move along. Well, I came across some other information during this 10 minutes that I was talking to the employee, and he brought something else up that I find to be even more curious. I'll play just a minute from that conversation for you. I told him that the 11:15, 11:30, 11:45 blocks are not showing up publicly. Well, when he looked on his end at his system to see what was going on, he could see those images. So here's that conversation. Yeah, it's earthcam.net/project/Bellagio/Las Vegas, and it shows the Conservatory and Botanical Gardens. And on October 1st, which is a Sunday night at 11 p.m., that frame is showing. But when you go to, click the forward button to go to the next frame at 11:15, it jumps straight to October 2nd, 12 a.m.
Understood. Okay. Let me just see something here. It's October 1st. Right. Okay. 11 o'clock. Yeah, I see it over here too. Can I log in remotely into your computer just to see what you're currently seeing on your end?
So you can see it on your end. You can see the 11:15, 11:30, 11:45.
Yeah, I'm looking on the actually public earthcam.net link. If you have that like embedded on a website,
yeah,
the image is showing on there as well, and on the .net site, which you're currently logged into now.
So in the just looking there on your end at the 11:30 frame, what are you seeing in that? So that I'll know if I'm seeing the same thing.
October 1st, 2017.
Yeah, October 1st, 2017 at, say, 11:30. Does it show anything?
Right now I don't see anybody at all inside that, inside the internal area there.
And what about the 11:15? Is there anyone in the 11:15? Because at the 11 p.m. frame, we've got plenty of people showing there.
Yeah, I have a couple of people at 11 o'clock, but it's a little blurred because we're kind of moving at the time.
Yeah, okay, that's what I see as well.
15, I see the same thing.
People walking around kind of blurred.
Right.
Okay. The 11 p.m. frame, I'd say, I don't know, there's at least 20 people in that frame. Is that about what it looks like at 11:15?
11:15 I have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, about 25 to 30 people. 25, 30. And then when we skip to the 11:30, it's just kind of, there's nobody there. Correct.
Okay. And nobody at the 11:45, because I've got the midnight. I'm just missing the 11:30, 11:45.
11:45, there is one person in there.
One person. All right.
He was on his cell phone talking to somebody.
Okay. Now, the thing that stands out the most to me about this conversation is that the tech support for the webcam company was looking at the time frame of 11 p.m. to midnight on his system. And according to what his system was telling him, that 11 p.m. to midnight time frame should be viewable to the public based on the settings that he could see. He told me that not only should that 11 p.m. to midnight be showing publicly on the earthcam.net site, which is the one that I showed you guys in episode 59, but he said that it should also be showing publicly on the MGM Bellagio's website as well. And from where he was sitting, his access, he was so sure that these frames are public, that the public can see them, that he even asked to remote access into my computer so that he could see what I was seeing. He just really couldn't believe that it wasn't showing up. But, given the number of people who have been trying to gain access to my computer files this week through little plots and schemes and fake stories they've been giving me, I wasn't about to let some stranger remote access into my computer. The files I have are just too sensitive. Well, beyond that issue, what the tech agent was able to confirm for me was that there were up to 30 people in the conservatory as of 11:15 p.m. because he could see this frame on his system, even though you and I cannot see it publicly. But by 11:30 p.m., the whole place was a ghost town. Not a single person was inside. Everybody was gone. At 11:45 p.m., he said he could only see one person inside the conservatory, and this person was talking on a cell phone. So let's listen again to what Jeff said about what happened in the conservatory at 11:20 p.m.
So we were taking photos in the conservatory, and all of a sudden, there was just like this crescendo of screams that started behind us in the lobby, and you could just hear screams. That's the first thing I heard. Were these screams. And then I heard somebody yell, there's a shooter, there's a shooter. And then I heard distinctly like 5 or 6 pops, like pop, 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 like unmistakably gunfire, unmistakably. It wasn't flip flops on the floor. It wasn't, you know, the fountains outside. These were from right outside of that lobby area, and they were very distinct. Those were gunshots. So that happened, and that was about 11:20 when we heard the shots and the screams and people yelling, and then, as I said, somebody yelling that there was a shooter. So I reached back, because there were, at that point, you could just hear the screams and see hundreds of people coming towards us through the conservatory, through the lobby there. You could just see them coming. So I reached back, I grabbed onto my wife's hand, and we just started moving. And no slight against anybody who was involved in the situation, but hotel security at the Bellagio that night, I mean, they were as panicked as we were. We had to remain as calm as possible, I guess. But at that point, again, there was so little information. All we knew was that we had heard screams and gunshots, and someone yelled that there was a shooter, and then this tidal wave of people and panic, and us, basically running for our lives. Like we felt that we were in imminent danger, and everybody did. It wasn't, a calm saunter downstairs. This was like, we need to get out of here, because if we don't, we're dead. Like, we're going to die. And so this was about an hour after that initial volley of gunshots that we had heard. So everybody just started to kind of wander out of the hotel, or out of the lobby, or out of the ballroom, I should say. And my wife decided that she wanted to go back and try to find her shoes, because we're walking through the casino, and we're walking, through the lobby, and there's glass everywhere. Glass from I don't even know where the glass came from, but as we walked through that lobby, there was definitely glass there. So we went back through the conservatory to go grab her shoes. An employee had her shoes and was sort of taking them to the back, because they were starting to clean up.
So Jeff's testimony about a rush of people running away from the conservatory to escape a gunman, and even dropping shoes behind in the rush, well, that seems to be confirmed by the missing frames that the tech employee could see. And one final point on this, one of my viewers with username Mad Hatter, he spotted something that I think is interesting. He pointed out that when the conservatory webcam does go forward to the midnight frame, October 2nd at midnight, you can see that there is an object laying on the ground. I zoomed in, I did a screen capture, and I ran the image through my image software. I used some different filters to see what it was, and it looks very much like a shoe, even zoomed in. And I compared the image against other items in other frames. The object that's laying there is too small to be a handbag, too small to be a purse, whatever it is. Somebody left that area in a hurry. This shoe confirms Jeff's testimony that people in the conservatory were in such a state of panic, fleeing from a gunman, or fleeing from what they thought to be a gunman, we'll say it that way, that they even left their own shoes behind in the rush. And you can see by 12:15, someone had retrieved that object, whatever it was. So to me, this does add additional support to the claim that people are making, that there was some major event that happened inside the Bellagio, that it wasn't just a false alarm, that something happened that spooked the people, and the folks at the Bellagio are lying to us. They're lying to the public in their denials that nothing happened. We now have sufficient evidence to say conclusively something happened. We don't have images yet of the shooter, but we do have, at this point, I think we're looking at 5 or 6 people who have confirmed hearing gunshots. So I want to thank all of you for your ongoing support. This is why it's so important for all of you in the viewing audience to not only watch passively for, entertainment value, but to take an active role in this investigation. The more eyes that we have looking at these various details, the greater the likelihood for bigger breakthroughs in this investigation. For the End Times News Report, I'm Jake Morphonios.